Okay, people, you see this? This is the beginning of making felt. What I did was I combed my cat out, and I got some of her hair, and then I layered it down onto this cloth. Now, I can't comb her again and get more hair, but this is what you start to get. Now, I didn't layer it good enough. I've got some bald spots here, as you can see. So what I'm going to do to make up for that, and you can use cat hair, you can use dog hair. I don't think it would work well with human hair. It works better with fur. But you take this and you peel it up after you've done that. After you've opened it up, and I'll show you what we did to get it like that. Now you see how it's got some holes in it? I'll redo this so that you can see some of this, so you can see. Now you see how tight that is? What I'm going to do is I'm going to peel some of this off and put it into the middle of this where it's got the holes. I learned how to do this from reading it in a book. And I made my first one out of some fur. And it takes a fairly good sum of fur to get a small piece of felt. So if you want to make a big piece of felt, enough to make a hat, you're going to have to get yourself a decent sized box and start collecting your cat's hair. Or your dog's fur, whichever one. But you're going to take this and you're going to put one thin layer, and then you put another thin layer on top of the first thin layer. And you try to lay them. It doesn't matter if you lay them all one way or all the other way. But if you're laying pieces down and most of it looks like it's going one way, then the next piece you do want to lay it so it goes the other way. So it basically meshes together is what you want. You want it to mesh. Now you see how I covered those holes up with that little bit. Just fray this out just a little bit. It's going to cover those holes up. Now let's hope they stay covered up. After you get your piece all laid out, you get your hair evenly laid in your 2 layers on it. When I did this, I did it in quite a hurry, so I didn't end up laying it properly. So now you can see what happens if you don't lay it properly. You take your towel and you roll it up like so. Just roll it up. Now, I like to put a rubber band on it so it doesn't come apart. And this takes a while to do. So you've got to decide if this is something that you think is going to be worthwhile. Some people do this and put it in the washer. I don't like doing that because there's a chance that whatever you got wrapped is going to come unwrapped. You're going to end up with a mess of hair in your washer. You're going to end up with some of the hair in your washer anyways because it'll bleed through the cloth. I doubled that over back here because I know my piece is right in this area. Now I'm going to take, because of this, a rubber band, and I'm going to stick it in the center. Just like so. And what you're going to do is you're going to lay it flat, and you're just going to rub it. You're just going to roll it on the table, the floor, whatever surface you have. And you're just going to keep on rolling it and keep on rolling it. And it'll start to bind together. As you could see, that hair was kind of bound together. And you're going to end up, now this piece here came from a treasured cat, actually a couple of treasured cats who have passed away. And I started it out, it was the size of a washcloth. And that's how small down it went. But you see, it doesn't pull apart. It's a piece of felt. So you just want to roll it. And that piece there, I think, took me between a half an hour, 45 minutes. Now this piece, when it started out just a bit bigger than a washcloth. So it might come out just a bit bigger than what that piece is. You just keep on rolling it with just a little bit of pressure. You don't have to press down like this. You just need a little bit of pressure so you get the movement in there. You want that movement in there. And you just roll it. And you keep on rolling it. You get the towel wet and you just do this. And if your towel starts to dry out, you just dip it again. And then you just squeeze it again. And it doesn't hurt to squeeze it like that. And then you just roll it again. And you just keep on rolling it. Now, I'm just going to do a few more rolls just to show you how much more together that piece has gotten since the last time we rolled it. Let's see if some of those gaps sealed up. Okay. So take my ends off. Take my center rubber band off. Hi, Nikki. Yeah, some of your hair's in here, too. And then you unroll it, gently unroll it. Now you can see the first time I was unrolling it, it kind of stuck like it is right here. This time it's not sticking in as much because it's starting to form. You see how much more down that has shrunk? It's starting to form, starting to become a piece of felt. See? You're going to end up with a piece of felt when you're done. I've still got holes in it. That's okay, I can fix that. But you're starting to get a piece of felt. Just take this piece, bring it down to here, fray it out a little bit. That one was clumping up too much anyways. We're going to have lumpies. It wasn't going to be that smooth. So you just fray it out a little bit. I got good nails for doing this. You might want to use a comb, a brush, or something to kind of unfray it, untangle it. And that's basically what you're doing. You're making basically a big matted knot of cat fur or dog fur. And like I said, this works best with fur animals or with like wool style animals is what it works best with. You roll her back up. Now, if you wanted to, let me do something here. If you wanted to, once it gets to this side, bring it over to one side, like so. Then roll it back up. I'm going to do it a better way. This cloth is just way too big. I'm going to fold my cloth in half and put my felt back on it. There we go. That's much better. And roll it back up. I learned how to do this reading about it. I'm hoping this makes it a little simpler for you to learn how to do it by seeing it. And it took me a couple tries to get it right. And I still haven't, as you can see, I still haven't got it 100% right. And mistakes are okay. Mistakes are how we learn. If we never make a mistake, then we never learn how to correct a mistake. Put your rubber band back on. And then you roll it again. Now this time, hopefully when I unroll it, it won't have any holes in it, for number one. Number two, it won't even stick to the cloth. Now, the first time you're doing this and you unroll it to see if there's any holes in it, you want to roll it for a good couple of minutes. And you unroll it and you see if there's any holes in it, it's going to be stuck to the cloth. And I mean, it is going to be stuck to the cloth. And as you've seen the second time here, only a little bit of it stuck to the cloth. You just keep on rolling it. Keep on rolling it. We'll see in a minute how much smaller this got. Now, if you think you don't have any holes left in it, my suggestion is every once in a while, just take and you roll it a few times, set it off on the side, roll it a few times, set it off on the side. The more you roll, the smaller the felt is going to get and the thicker this felt is going to get. But you do want it thick enough that it will not pull apart. And that little girl that just jumped over my leg, that's where all this hair came from. That is my Bobby Sue. She's got oranges and grays and whites all through her. Like I said, you don't have to press hard. Just a little bit of a pressure. About like you're giving your leg a massage or your foot a massage. About like that. Okay, let's see what we got for you now. Hi, Nikki. See how much easier that's rolling apart? It's not sticking there. It's just rolling apart. It's not sticking a whole lot to this. See? You see how much smaller that got? And you see how it's starting to stick together? You can pull it apart a little bit. But it's starting to stick together. See? And you see how her different hair colors made it kind of mottled in there? Now, if you do want to do one with a design in it, you'll have to take and have your separate colors. You'll lay down each color how you want it, and you'll overlay. What you'll do is say you want a dark with, say, some horse shapes in it. You lay the horse shapes real big onto what you want. If you want one big horse on a piece like this, as you've seen, I had that piece covered like this. Okay, if I wanted a horse on here, I have to cover this whole part with the horse, and then a little bit of dark sides around it to be able to get the horse in the middle. To be able to get the horse in the middle. So you'd have to play with that. I've never tried to do designs. But see, I've got it this far. So I'm going to lay it in here again. And I think I'm going to go the opposite direction this time. Hold my cloth so I don't have to fold any of it over to have the rubber bands on it. Let's see. Now, let's go this way. And then roll her back up. You don't have to put the rubber bands on it, but I like to because it keeps it from unrolling. This part ends up unrolling, see, like that, which really doesn't bother anything when the piece is small enough, but when the piece is bigger, it does, and even if you go this way, you end up with it still unrolling a little bit, but only on this side where now you can't see it unrolling. But you just keep on doing this until it's stuck together enough that when you wash it or whatever else not you're going to do with it, when you turn it into a hat, shape it into a hat or whatever, that it's not going to come apart on you. If you're going to make one big enough for a blanket, which would take an awful lot of felt, my suggestion is to try and make squares about like so and sew them together. Do not try to make one humongous large piece of felt because, oh my gosh, even a square like that, you're going to have a fairly large piece of cloth to make it. And I do mean a large piece of cloth. You be rolling forever. This is something that you can have a rolled piece of cloth put together or have it ready to be rolled and put together. And then every day roll up your little piece of felt that you had started. Roll it up, and every day when you're watching something on TV for 15 minutes, half an hour, whatever it is, just sit there and watch your TV and just take and roll while you're watching. It's like doing your exercise while watching TV. And then you just roll while you're watching, and then when you're done, unroll it so it doesn't get moldy. Let it dry for the next day until you get it rolled down to what you want it to be. You see how that's starting to tighten up? See that? If I was to cut it here, I'd have a nice little round piece that could make a coaster or whatever. That's how you make felt. So, here I'll show you. See, cut up the edges, clean it up a little bit. In fact, me cutting it, I can show you what it looks like a little bit better. On the inside, on the edge side. Now you see how that looks in there? See what that looks like? This is where I covered up that whole area. See how it's split a little bit there? But where I didn't do that, you see how it's good and tight? Same thing with this side, good and tight. And then over here, this is the raw edge. That's what the raw edge looks like. And that is a piece of felt. And that's how they used to make beaver hair hats and whatnot. Was they'd get the beaver's hair and they would do this method. And then they'd make a big enough piece of felt to be able to put the felt onto a form, and they'd put the felt onto the form and steam it, and that would force the felt into a shape which would end up staying. They would put, I think if I remember right, they would put starch into it and then steam it, and it would hold its shape. Then they'd have their hat, their beaver skin hat, in whatever form they put it on. If they put it on a form like a fedora, you'd have a fedora. If they wanted a cowboy hat, you'd have a cowboy hat. It all depends on the form that they shaped the hat on. There we go. See? The more you do it, the smaller it'll get. There you go. That's how you make felt. Hope you learned something here. Nice piece of felt.